So it is time to head to Mexico. Now, now that we already have like this high level view from our leaders, IDB leaders, governments, academicians. Now we are going micro. We are going to specific sites, and we are going to start traveling during the rest of this amazing gathering. So it's time to head to Mexico, to a place called Jalisco, which is the most Mexican place there's in Mexico. That is really setting a great example of harnessing the power of AI, something that we can learn from. So who best to deliver a master class on AI applied in Mexico than Enrique Cortés Bello? He's the director of Artificial Intelligence Hub at Tecnológico de Monterrey, Tech of Monterrey, a fantastic place to learn, very well known in the region. And he is going to talk about precisely on how they make AI in Jalisco. Enrique has a vast experience. He has a lot of knowledge on what's happening. And I'm not going to say more. Just please, Enrique, enlighten us with the current status of AI in Jalisco. Thank you.
Hello, I'm speaking to you from Jalisco, Mexico. Jalisco is a beautiful land, but probably is not well known across the world. So I need to tell you a little bit about my land. Jalisco is in Mexico, and probably the two best known cities in Jalisco are Guadalajara, which is the capital city, and Puerto Vallarta, which is a tourist resort. Guadalajara is the second largest city in Mexico. You can see the picture there on the upper right-hand side. Next picture is a picture of Puerto Vallarta, which is a beautiful resort town. And in the middle, we have a lot of small towns, like the one you see in the bottom part of the picture. We are in the region that we call the west of Mexico, and we are in the Pacific coast. Jalisco is a very, very interesting place. Some people say is the most Mexican of all Mexican states. But the other thing with Jalisco is we have a very, very interesting environment. We have a lot of agriculture in Jalisco, but we also have woods, very dense woods that you can see in the middle there. Then the northern part of Jalisco is a semi-desert, it's a very dry zone. And then the coast of Jalisco is a tropical dry forest that you can see in the bottom part. And we care a lot about our ecosystems in Jalisco. We want to preserve them. As far as the economy in Jalisco is very interesting. It's very diversified, but the two main activities are very extreme. One is high technology. And when I say high technology, I'm talking about electronics, design of electronics, manufacturing of electronics, software, digital systems, digitalization, and AI, of course. And the other big activity in Jalisco is agriculture, agribusiness. We are a top producer of eggs, milk, berries, and of course, our national drink, which is tequila. So, high tech and agriculture. And we are fortunate in Jalisco to have very strong institutions. I work in a university, private university, but we have very strong private universities. We have very strong state universities. We have very good engineering schools. And we are known as the center of the high-tech industry in Mexico. Of course, one of the big research and development centers here in Guadalajara is Intel, and there are many other companies from Europe, from Asia, and from America. And we have another advantage, which I think is very good, which is that the government is a very pro-business government and gets the picture about technology. The government believes that technology and digital technology in particular is a way to make our environment better and to create better jobs. And Jalisco is the only state in Mexico that has a directorate of artificial intelligence that collaborates very strongly with industry and with academia. Now, with that background that I'm giving you, I want to tell you about several projects, several AI projects that are made in Jalisco, Mexico. And you will see that these projects have to do with our soul, with the things that matter to us. They are not any project. They are things that we really, really care about. I'll start with the environment. Scientists in the government of Jalisco are working in a project to use AI to do interpretation of satellite images. And what they are trying to determine is if people are cutting trees in the forests to do illegal planting of crops like avocados or the plant that we use to make tequila. We don't want that. We want our forests to be protected. So this group takes satellite pictures and uses techniques of machine vision and machine learning to determine at different times if the size of the forest has diminished and where, so that the not only we have statistics about the growth or the lack of growth in the forest, but statistics that can pinpoint where the forest can be cut so that the government agencies can take action. As you can see, this is directly connected with our care for the environment in Jalisco. Another project, which I think is very relevant and very interesting, is some of the forests we have here are right at the edge of the city, the big city of Guadalajara. We have a big forest called La Primavera. It's a forest that we cherish, the people that we live here. And this forest, either for natural causes or by human factors, sometimes caught fire. And we have these big forest fires that are very close to the city, not good for the forest, not good for the city, and they also cause a lot of air pollution in the city of Guadalajara. So we have researchers at Tec de Monterrey working in collaboration with some researchers in Europe to detect forest fires as early as possible, and then to understand and predict the direction of the fires so that the activities of the firefighters can be more intelligent. We do this again with machine vision, machine learning, and the idea is to put IoT devices in the forest to detect the heat and basically the temperature of the forest and detect the fire, and to put cameras in drones to understand the movement of the fires and guide the actions of the firemen. Another interesting application in the environment. Our population in Jalisco is around 8 million people. And of course, we all care about the health of our population. Mexico has a problem with cardiovascular illnesses, and we need to combat those problems. And one of the main problems is diabetes. And diabetes has a consequence, which is an illness of the eye called retinopathy. we are doing a project, my university, in conjunction with the government of Jalisco and the Inter-American Development Bank, to use AI to do early diagnosis of retinopathy. The problem with retinopathy is an illness that does not have many symptoms up to the point where you are very sick. And what's next is the person that has retinopathy becomes blind. So the consequences are terrible, not only for the person, but for the family. And the other factor is, not only here in Jalisco, but in Mexico in general, we don't have many specialists that can do diagnosis of retinopathy. So what we're doing is a pilot project in clinics right now in Jalisco to use a new medical protocol to do early diagnostic of retinopathy, the degree of retinopathy, using AI techniques, mainly deep learning, through the use of special kind of photography of the eye. And we're putting these in clinics that are not the main clinics in the cities, but rural clinics or clinics that are in the periphery of the cities. The idea here is not to replace the doctors, because I just told you there are very few doctors that can do this, but to extend the reach of the health system to people that normally would not have access to the specialist and normally would not be diagnosed properly. And we are doing this right now, as I'm telling you, as in clinics, and we hope to extend this to more clinics and more clinics until the whole state is covered. Another example of an interesting project is researchers in one of our universities are using AI and again, vision and machine learning techniques to find and classify kidney stones. This is important because surgeons, when they are before the surgery, they need to know exactly where the kidney stone, they need to know the size, they need to know the type. So we're using minimally invasive techniques with cameras to detect the kidney stones and to classify them. Then we pass this information to the surgeon, and then the surgeon can do an optimal surgery that is minimally invasive. Then we switch topics. I told you our state is an agricultural state, it's a food state. That's not only big business, but it's a big employer of our people. And we are proud to say that we are the food basket of Mexico. We're a big producer of berries, we're a big producer of eggs, milk, pork, cattle, and vegetables, sugar, etc., etc. So we use AI for food production, for optimization of food production. There is a startup here in Jalisco that is using AI to do intelligent agriculture in berries. What is interesting about berries is this is a relatively new crop. I have lived here quite some time, and 15 years ago we didn't produce berries. But somebody determined that our climate is very good for berries, and now we're a top producer of berries, not only for local Mexico consumption, but also for export to North America. So this startup is focusing on how do I optimize the growth of berries? Optimize what? Optimize the water, optimize the pH of the soil, optimize all the conditions so that berries can grow healthy and beautiful. And this is a startup doing this. Now, in the same context of food, another local university is focusing on cows, right? I told you we're a top milk producer in Mexico. So this university, this group of researchers, what they're doing is identifying each cow with machine vision, and then they are identifying the conditions where the cow produces the most milk. And the other thing that they are trying to forecast is when the cow is more fertile, can have little cows, which is a very interesting use of AI for food. So in the case of food, what I expect to see is that we will apply AI also not to the production of food, but also to the chain that goes from the producer to the table. And we will see more efforts there, especially in academia. As I told you, we are 8 million people in Jalisco, and we want our youngsters to be well educated. And there is a problem, and this is not a problem of Jalisco, this is a worldwide problem, which is junior high. Junior high for us is 7, 8, and 9 grade. We have a percentage of dropouts, let's say from 7 to 8, and from 8 to 9. Especially during COVID, we had a big number of dropouts. So we are running a project with the Department of Education of Jalisco to understand not, usually these projects in AI are about forecasting which student is going to drop out. We took a different view, and what we are trying to determine are what are the cause effect of dropouts, but not at the individual level, but at the school or community level. And we want to give the decision makers in the school and the surrounding community the causes backed up by data of the dropouts in their school so they can take action. And then we want to find clusters of schools that have more or less the same pattern of cause effect, so that they can build their own community of schools that can take action against dropouts. Another application in education is a startup, local startup called Helki. It's a startup founded by women, and that's in Spanish, but it says, we help you in raising your kids. It's an interesting startup. What they do is they help parents of young children from 0 to 4 years in all aspects of the growth of the children. Psychological growth, education, even food, etc., etc. And the way they do it is with an intelligent chatbot. Of course, they have a team of people that are specialists in early childhood psychology. They have people that are specialists in early childhood education, etc., that advise the team. But as they grow, the way they grow is they build an intelligent chatbot called Ellie, which you see on the left, which takes on the repetitive questions that many parents ask and gives an answer that is reasonable. And if we still don't know the answer, then Ellie goes to the specialist, gets the answer, gives that to the parents, and then keeps that answer now in a database that it used for further question answer. We change topics. Fintech is something important here in Mexico. And it's important because a good number of Mexicans do not have bank accounts. Why? Many reasons, and the reasons are complex. So a local startup called Questkey decided to give small loans without consulting any sources of bank credit. So what they do is they examine the behavior of people, for example, in social networks. They examine their social surroundings, and that's the way they determine to give the loan or not give the loan. These are small loans that are repaid quickly, and now they are doing something about payment systems also for the population that is not does not have a bank account. So this way, this fintech startup Quesky is extending credit to Mexicans that normally would not have credit or would have very, very expensive credit. I'm mentioning this startup because lately we not only see the normal ecosystem of very large multinational companies here in Guadalajara, but we see a boom of startups in fintech, in smart agriculture, in real estate, and in many fields. So we expect to see more and more startups here in Jalisco. Finally, two examples of very complex things that we do here in Jalisco. And these are done by research and development labs of large companies. First one is here in Jalisco, we help a very large agricultural machinery company, one of the global ones, with their autonomous agricultural machinery, tractors and other machinery, in the algorithms for autonomous driving and in the optimization of, for example, how you plant seeds, right? Planting seeds, I didn't know, but now I know, it's not a trivial activity. Certain seeds need to be planted at a certain distance from each other and at certain depth, depending on many factors. Then IoT sensors are put in the ground to guide the activities of other agricultural machinery, etc., etc. So we have Mexican engineers here in Jalisco that have worked in these algorithms for the machinery and for the whole set of technologies that have to do with intelligent digital agriculture. Another example of advanced technologies is here in Guadalajara, in the metropolitan area. We have a number of companies, large companies, many of them European, that are providers to the vehicle industry, to the auto industry. We have at least three here very big players that have research and development labs where Mexican engineers, in collaboration with engineers from all over the world, work in algorithms for autonomous driving, all phases, ADAS and level 5 autonomous driving. Those algorithms are made here in Jalisco and other parts of Mexico. And those algorithms are used in vehicles that are manufactured sometimes in Mexico, sometimes in Europe, sometimes in the US. So our engineers are doing very advanced work in automotive software embedded and in the algorithms for autonomous vehicles. And I could talk about many, many other examples of use of AI. Another big company here in Jalisco, an international company that produces ERP software, has a group of people here working on how to use AI in the optimization of databases and the ERP system, etc., etc. So all these things, as you can see, are happening because of the people of Jalisco. In Jalisco, we have a quite large body of bilingual engineers that are well educated by very sophisticated universities. And we are making a real effort to make sure that our kids, boys and girls, go into engineering school and then become the future engineers of the world. So the people of Jalisco make the AI made in Jalisco. Thank you very much.
That was indeed inspiring. A lot of insights to pick from. Thank you, Enrique. What is also inspiring for all of us is the exciting space of developing AI-based products. So I can remember you show really many cases. I never imagined how much of AI was happening in Jalisco. So it's very good to see that occurring there. Our home at Mexico, where we have our development center. So for us, it's very gratifying to see that AI, Jalisco has been leading in many tech fronts, and AI is not going to be an